Hi everyone, it's Denise from Dobby Books. Happy Thursday, and I'm bringing you the promised unboxing of the Word on Fire Bible. And this is number, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. It's number 5. So I'm going to basically show you the cover and then we'll get into some details about it. So this is the beautiful cover of the Word on Fire Bible number 5, and I can already see I made a smudgy here and I don't know how, and I have my tabs in here. So this is the cover, and if you look at the front you have some Latin words, and this is a very significant quote, and it comes out of the book of Luke. And in the book of Luke, Simeon was an elderly man who spent his days in the temple, and he knew, or God had promised him, that he would be able to see the promised Messiah before he died. And wouldn't you know it, Joseph and Mary show up one day in the temple to present the baby Christ as is part of Jewish custom. And that is when Simeon happened to be there, as well as an elderly woman by the name of Anna. But in this particular part of the New Testament, it talks about Simeon. And the prayer of praise that Simeon offers when he holds Jesus in his arms is a prayer that is in what the Catholics call the Liturgy of the Hours. So for Catholics, liturgy is a form of worship. And the Mass is referred to as a liturgy. But so it's prayer. And in this case, the Liturgy of the Hours is a series of prayers that are said at different times of the day. And there are 4-volume versions of the Liturgy of the Hours, and there are also 1-volume versions of the Liturgy of the Hours. And I happen to have the 1-volume version, and this is the cover for it. It's just called Christian Prayer, and it's a 1-volume version. And this is something that over the years I prayed off and on. But I've said it so many times, I can say it by heart. And there have been times when, just to close my day, to shut down the activities of the day and to get myself into that, I'm going to go to sleep now mode. It just quiets my mind. It really, just talking about it now, I can already feel how it just sort of closes a book. Puts a cover on something, blocking out the noise from the outside. It's a great way to just put yourself in that Zen mode to just, I'm going to go to sleep now. I'm going to rest. And this is the prayer. It comes with, there's an antiphon said, and then the prayer, and then the and then there's a glory be, and then the antiphon. An antiphon would be like in a song, you know how there's a chorus, and you keep going back to that chorus periodically throughout the entire song. That's what the antiphon is like. But the prayer itself that Simeon says is this: Lord, now let your servant go in peace. Your word has been fulfilled. My own eyes have seen the salvation which you have prepared in the sight of every people, a light to reveal you to the nations and the glory of your people Israel. It's just a great way of closing things down. And these words here in Latin are that prayer. And the translation directly would be the light and glory of the revelation of your people, the nations of Israel. And this particular book has, let me see, 9 books of the Old Testament. So it has 1st and 2nd Chronicles, Ezra, Nehemiah, Tobit, Judith, Esther, and 1st and 2nd Maccabees. And the books in these 9 books that are part of the 7 extra books in the Catholic Old Testament would be, which ones? Let me see. It would be 1st and 2nd Maccabees, and Tobit. Yeah, if I'm remembering correctly. The actual 7 books that are not part of the Protestant Old Testament would be Baruch, Sirach, Judith, Wisdom, Tobit, and 1st and 2nd Maccabees. All right, so now when we go in, as we're flipping our way through the Bible, and we get to, you'll have the table of contents, which is going to break down the different books of the Bible that are in there, which are written in gold type. And then on the next page, page 11, it mentions the typeface. So the words that you'll find in the Bible here that are written larger, so they're like the head pages, the title pages, they're written in a typeface called Angelico, and this is the story behind it. Quotations in the Word on Fire Bible are set in Angelico, a custom font drawn especially for this Bible. Its proportions were inspired by the designs of Renaissance typographer Erhard Radelt, and the font is named after Renaissance friar and fresco painter Blessed Frangelico, whose example of holiness and artistic mastery was a major inspiration for the visual style of this Bible. And just below that, you have the enlarged words there. He who wishes to paint Christ's story must live with Christ, from Blessed Frangelico. And then on the following page, it talks about the cover design. It gives you some background on the cover design. It breaks down what the words actually mean and where that reference is in the Bible for those particular words. And as we continue on in the preliminary pages, if you go to the next one, now it shows you each book of the Bible and its, its symbol. And it explains a little bit about each one of those books. On the following pages, you have some words by Bishop Robert Barron on how we should approach the Bible and his own experiences with this. And finally, it goes into the features of this particular Word on Fire Bible. So you have the breakdown of the various parts that you'll notice as you work your way through the Bible. It's going to have commentaries by the church fathers, recent church commentators, and then you'll also have Bishop Barron providing his commentary, as well as word studies for the Hebrew and the Greek, and then beautiful artwork. And they give the name of the artist and background on that. So you're going to see some artwork in here, I'm sure, that you've not seen before. Very beautiful. Now, the Church Father commentary, if I'm not mistaken, the Church Fathers are broken up into two categories. The earliest ones, so the ones that were the students or disciples of the apostles themselves, are called the Apostolic Fathers because they come from the apostles. And the generation after them, so their students or disciples, are the Church Fathers. And it looks like here in the Word on Fire Bible, they're putting those two categories into one. So I believe I'm right on that. Then in the next category, you have commentary from more recent leadership. So in this example here, it's telling you Pope St. John Paul II. Going back to the Church Father commentary, so in this first part here, if you go to page, I believe it's page 61, there's an example of an early church father. And this is from St. Augustine, or as the Protestants will say, St. Augustine. I prefer St. Augustine. And it will list when he was around, and the basically this themed commentary that St. Augustine makes on 1 Chronicles 12:38, and that's what we're reading. That's what you're reading here in these pages. And then you'll also have the newer commentary. So that's going to be from, let's see, if you go to page 239, there's an example of that. On page 239, there's a commentary by Fulton Sheen. And many of us know Bishop Sheen. He was very well known in the 50s. He had his own TV show. Brilliant scholar, brilliant speaker, fantastic. And here is a commentary by Bishop Sheen on the True Temple. And of course, it applies to the book of Ezra, which is the book it's supplied in. And then, when it shows Bishop Barron's commentaries, there's an example of that on page 310. And in this one, it's in the book of Tobit, and Bishop Barron is giving his commentary on the character of Tobit. So there's some examples there. As well as the Hebrew and Greek work studies on page 149 is an example of that. So on the bottom right of page 149 is the Hebrew word, and I know I'm going to mispronounce it, hekal. And they describe it as a noun and that it means temple, sanctuary, palace. So those are nice little snippets to get as you're reading your way through the Old Testament. And finally, some of the art. And I want to show you one particularly on page 348. This is not something that I've seen before. Maybe some of you have not seen this particular work of art before. But it has to do with the book of Tobit. And in the book of Tobit, the archangel Raphael is the one who helps Tobit. And in this painting here, it shows the painter. If you look to the right of the image, the painter is Giovanni Biliberti, and it was painted in 1612. And it's entitled "The Archangel Raphael Refusing Tobias's Gift." And it goes into some background information on that. And then on the left, just under the image itself, it starts talking about the color scheme and the meaning behind it, which I love. I love that we're getting not just a Bible that we're reading, but you're also getting some history and some art. I just love how they incorporate all those qualities into the one book. And as you go back, you're opening First Chronicles, and the beginning of every book has these images like this. I think it's gold and white. I wanted to say brown and white, but no, I think it's gold and white. It has an introduction. There's always a writer, an author who's going to provide you some background information on that particular book. Then we have the angelic typeface on the next page with a quote from First Chronicles here, First Chronicles 16:8. And then you open it up and it starts. We have chapter 1 of First Chronicles, and you can see just below that an explanation by Bishop Barron on the genealogies that are listed. So it explains it for you. And I want to point out that at the back of the book, starting on page 584, are the notes. And these notes are a list of Bishop Barron's commentaries in this Bible itself. It mentions that those that are not listed are excerpted from his unpublished homily texts. So there we go. So volume 5 of the Word on Fire Bible, just as beautiful as all the other ones, with beautiful thicker pages. You know, these aren't the onion thin ones. These are thicker pages, beautifully made. I have a hardbound copy. They also have leather bound, and mine is going to be added to here. Now I've got to get rid of a book so that I can fit this one in there. But there we go, people. And it has a bookmark too. I forgot to mention, it has a lovely bookmark as well. And I think you can see that there. All right. And there we go. And if you guys have any questions or whatever, go for it. And thanks for hanging out with me for this review, and take care. Bye-bye.